Can we have a roll call, please?
All right, everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, Kathleen Taylor,
Here.
Francine Donchik, absent. Kyle West,
Here.
Larry Chesney,
Present.
Mark Johnson,
Here.
Peter Gower,
Here.
Sarah Chavilicek,
Here.
Scott Carey,
Present.
and Shelley Reed.
Here. Do you guys want to provide the call-in information for public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair. Damien will take us through that right now.
Okay.
Hello, commissioners. Good evening. Damien Kerwin, Regional Planning for the record. Just going to share my screen real quick so folks can see how they want to leave. They want to leave public comment and the process involved. Everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. So if you want to leave public comment for any item during the meeting, you just go to teamrpa.org and you'll see it right here on our homepage. Click here to access digital public comment card. And I'm just going to go through and fill it out real quickly. Just fill out your name and email. And then you select the agenda item you would like to speak on. And then if you're going to be using video or phone to provide your public comment, provide a number, and then you hit submit. And it will give you the credentials for the Zoom meeting right here, and if you need a call in as well. And you'll also get emailed this information, and you can access the meeting from the email as well. And that's it, simple as that. And if you want to leave comment on another item, you have to go back in just to our homepage again and refill out another digital public comment card.
Perfect. Thank you, Damien. Can we do the salute to the flag? Jeremy, can you lead us?
Absolutely.
And I think everybody else is going to mute.
Yes, please. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's move on next to approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gower, move to
Lively.
approve.
Mr. Johnson, I'll second that.
All right, I didn't catch who made the.
Mr. Gower, thank you.
Oh, okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Gower and a second by
Commissioner Johnson.
Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Let's open it up for public comment. Do we have anyone on the line for public comment?
We have not received any public comment for this item.
All right, I'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes of the March 25th meeting.
Commissioner Chesney, move to approve the minutes.
Gower, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Chesney and a second by Commissioner Gower. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 6 is our business of the day, starting with item 6A, which is a regional plan conformance review. Director Smith.
Madam Chair, thank you. Jeremy Smith for the record. Item 6A is for possible action, a public hearing item, and regional plan conformance review. City of Reno Master Plan Amendment, Echo Avenue, CR 21-001, an amendment to the City of Reno land use designation from parks, greenways, and open space to multifamily neighborhood. The plus or minus 1.95 acre site is located on the south side of Echo Avenue between Mount Charleston Street to the west and Stead Boulevard to the east. Today we're going to have Regional Planner Shani Sousa give us a presentation about this item.
Can everyone see that okay? We can hear me?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, good
Good.
news. Success. All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Shawnee Sousa, Team RPA for the record. The case you're reviewing tonight is a conformance review for Echo Avenue, case number CR21-001. Here's an overview of the case. The Echo Avenue Amendment to the City of Reno Master Plan proposes to change the master plan land use applicable to the site from parks, greenways, and open space to multifamily neighborhood. The subject site is approximately 1.95 acres in size. For this case, regional planning staff recommends that Echo Avenue conforms with the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan. Finally, the regional form map is shown on the right, showing the subject site, which is located inside the City of Reno. On this slide, you can see the neighborhood map and a site within Tier 1 land, which is considered appropriate for intensification, as facilities and services are generally available. City of Reno also indicated public facilities and services will be available and adequate to serve anticipated development. Additionally, staff believes that by increasing housing density and choice in the area, the proposed amendment is consistent with the goals of the regional plan, as well as compatible with surrounding land uses. This is the aerial map as well as a photo of the subject site below. It is not for public use, and as you can see, the site is relatively small and surrounded by roadways. For additional context, there are a variety of publicly accessible open space and parks in the vicinity, as well as transit opportunities through RTC bus routes, which run adjacent to the property. Finally, there are no identified development constraints or DCA on the subject site. Policy RC9 of the 2019 Regional Plan identifies 5 factors that the RPC must consider when evaluating conformance. In regard to the 5 factors, staff found that the proposal conforms with each of these policy sections. In conclusion, the previous slides presented a summary of the proposal and staff's analysis. As noted, staff recommends approval for the proposal. The proposed motion is on the screen or on page 5 of your meeting packet. This concludes my presentation. Team RPA, as well as City of Reno staff, are available for any questions.
Thank you. I see already that Commissioner Carey has his hand raised, so go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question for staff. I was just curious, the staff report states that there's parks and open space in the general area. I was just kind of curious where the closest park and open space is to this area. I think looking at the aerial map, I think Mayor's Park is to the south. I was just kind of looking to get something on the record.
It is. There's actually a few parks and open space. Myers Park, it's about less than a half mile away, and there's also there's 3 parks nearby that are less than a half mile, and as well as trails and other parks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff or for the city? I don't see any. So yes.
Excuse me, Commissioner Chesney.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't put my hand up, but
That's okay.
we
You're fine.
keep trying to preserve open space, and this is the configuration of this parcel is just like off the hook. And I'm trying to think, this is with the configuration of the real estate, it's much more well suited as a piece of open space or parkland than it is for somebody to cram some houses on it. And I just, we continue to allow putting 10 pounds of gravel in a 1 pound bag. And I just have some serious concerns about continuing to let this open space be brought over for some reason or another for development. We got thousands of homes in the pipelines, and I just personally, I can't see this one. So those are my views and those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Shawnee, there's a representative from the city of Reno, but can you address some of Commissioner Chesney's concerns or this representative from the city?
Yeah, I think I can address some, and what I can't, Jeremy may be able to. We had talked a little bit about it. So it is privately owned. It's not, for public use right now. And in the area, because there are so many parks and open space, it's my understanding that when the city of Reno talked to their parks department, the parks department said, oh, that area has a lot of parks. And so they don't really see this as, an area that really needs this little space. But perhaps, Jeremy, is there anything else that you can add?
Thank you, Shawnee. This is Jeremy Smith, the record. I'd like to give Jeff Borkart a chance to reply, and then I can fill in after that, possibly.
So, Commissioner Chesney, a lot of this came from, this is Jeff Borkart, I'm the planning manager at the city.
Sure.
A lot of this comes from the site history. This site was changed in error. So basically what ended up happening was we, back in the early 2000s, created the transit corridor overlays, and this all became part of the North Virginia Transit Corridor. So it was like super intense development in this area. And everyone came out and said, you know what, maybe this is not really appropriate for this area. And so the council directed staff to go back and return the zoning back to what it was, return the master plan land use designations back to what they were. And for some reason, this got designated open space. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no history as to why it was done that way. It looks like somebody just drew green on a map. And so we're trying to fix it to where it came back to what it was originally intended to be. So that's pretty much the history and the story behind this.
Did that address some of your concerns, Commissioner Chesney?
Actually, no. This is a triangular shaped piece of property. It doesn't configure very well for any kind of development, and it's very small. And I'm going to be quite frank, as wonderful as the presentations have been and the answers have been, I cannot support giving this thing up myself personally. So that's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to let Commissioner Chvilicek ask her question, and then we can move back to maybe readdressing some of Commissioner Chesney's concerns. Go ahead, Commissioner Chvilicek.
Thank you. It's not so much a question, just as an acknowledgement, and with utmost respect to Commissioner Chesney, I see this area regularly. When I first moved to Nevada, that's from rural Montana. I lived up there, and it is a small triangle. It's surrounded by roads that are heavily trafficked. This isn't safe space for open space or playgrounds. I'd be very concerned about children playing there. And in terms of that area right now, because that triangle space is in front of the old Job Corps buildings, which are boarded up and blighted. I know that there's probably future development plans coming for that, but it's going to bring up the surrounding property values for the homeowners in that area. I know that isn't really necessarily under our purview, but it's been vacant for as long as I have lived in Nevada, and it's always been a problematic piece of property. So thank you.
Thank you for your perspective. Commissioner West.
Yes, one of the things that I heard was that City of Reno Parks and Rec are not looking for additional park space in that area. So one of my concerns would be if it's left as open space. I mean, a lot of open spaces are natural landscaping or natural vegetation, but this being right in the center of roadways, I could see this just continuing as a vacant lot, especially if the city's unwilling to take it as a park, and the property owner, being that it is private, has no interest in maintaining it. I mean, obviously you have to meet code requirements, those get enforced, but it could just remain a vacant lot with no use, no good use. So that'd be my input regarding this.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Any other comments from staff? Yes, Jeremy.
Madam Chair, thank you. Jeremy Smith for the record. To address Commissioner Chesney's concerns, we share the concerns in terms of the loss of open space. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to track in our Truckee Meadows annual report. When we first put this together, Shawnee and the team looked at a 5-year retrospective of loss and gain of open space. And it's sort of a difficult proposition because we have master plan land use categories of open space, which may or may not be publicly accessible. And so we are trying to track those two kind of binary open space condition where can folks get to it, or is it just like a view kind of a thing, or space, it's privately held, but you can't use it. So what we're working towards to help contextualize these kinds of issues is that retrospective look, and we plan to add that into our staff reports as we go towards more graphics and kind of access the TMR. This one's a small site, 2 acres, and so we weren't prepared to put that into this report, but maybe Shawnee, you could speak to how much open space we gained last year through some of the projects that were approved.
I believe Nate Kush also helped me calculate. I want to say between 2 developments, we had actually gained 800 acres somewhere. But like you said, it really depends on the context. Some of those were undeveloped land and now they're going to be developed. So Nate might be able to explain a little better than I.
Yeah, I can help a little bit. So I don't remember the exact number, but it is upwards of probably 800 or so. And that's over the last few years, really. And most of that comes from two specific projects that were approved, one of them being Stonegate and one of them being the Daybreak project. So along with those projects, there's the open space designations that came through. How much of that will be publicly accessible and when that will kind of be brought about for public use or not is kind of waiting till those projects are developed. So it's hard to kind of contextualize with those kind of factors. But overall, even beyond those projects, we've seen over the last 5 years, a general gain in open space, even beyond those projects. There's fun years where it's come to a net zero, but I don't think there was any year, at most there was maybe 1 year where there was actually a negative number. So we lost open space in that year. But over the last 5 years, we've generally been increasing open space rather than taking away.
Thank you, Nate. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Gower.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 points. I guess the first one is we talked about this at City of Reno when it came to the Planning Commission. Obviously the city or the Planning Commission doesn't want to be, changing open space designations to development. But like Jeff said, it was really a technicality in the zoning. So for me, that's how I was able to make the findings at the city, and that's how I can make the findings tonight at regional. I guess I do want to follow up on the conversation that Nate and Joni and Jeremy just shared. I think that's a dangerous slope that we're talking about if we're patting ourselves on the back for saying that we're increasing open space with developments like Stonegate and Daybreak. I think we need to be thinking about it in terms of built land, because adding 5,000 or 6,000 homes to previously unbuilt land is not conserving open space. So I have a real hard time with that calculation, and I think we need to think a little bit harder about that before we, give ourselves a gold star.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to reiterate, our master plan classifies parks, greenways, and open space as parks, open space, greenways, natural areas, and agriculture lands that have been preserved through conservation easements or other mechanisms. This does not have a conservation easement. It is not natural open land. It is not a greenway. It is not a designated open space for any particular development. It's not deed restricted, and it's certainly not a park. So I do want to state that it doesn't even meet our own master plan designation for what actually is open space.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, let's move on to public comment. Since this is a public hearing item, do we have anybody waiting on the line to provide public comment?
We have not received any public comment for this item.
Okay, so let's close public comment and bring it back to the commission. Any further thoughts, questions? I will entertain a motion. Commissioner West.
Yes, I can provide this motion. I move to find the Echo Avenue Master Plan Amendment to the City of Reno Master Plan in conformance with the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, based on the findings listed in the staff report.
We have a motion.
Commissioner Gower, I'll second.
All right, I think Commissioner Gower beat you, Commissioner Taylor. So we have a motion by Commissioner West and a second by Commissioner Gower. Any discussion? Commissioner Carey, I see that hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple comments before the vote. Yeah, I think to Commissioner Chesney's point, I certainly agree from a regional form and pattern perspective. It's never easy to see parks and open space land uses being proposed to become, development or more multifamily. But I think in this instance, I feel that the proposed change is more technical in nature. The site was previously zoned as multifamily and was changed incorrectly to the current land use designation with the North Virginia Transit Corridor planning process, which was quite the process. I think staff's done a good job outlining the proposed master plan amendment and that it's in conformance with the regional plan. I concur with their findings. I also think that the proposed change is consistent with the goals of the regional plan. I'll be supporting the motion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any additional comments? Okay, we have a motion. Can we please have a roll call vote on this item?
Yes, certainly. Kathleen Taylor?
Yes.
Francine Donchik's not here. Kyle West?
Yes.
Larry Chesney?
No.
Mark Johnson?
Yes.
Peter Gower?
Yes.
Sarah Chavilicek?
Yes.
Scott Carey?
Yes.
And Shelley Reed?
Aye. Motion passes. Let's move on to, thank you to Shawnee and Jeff. Let's move on to item 6B, which is the RPC training segment. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chairman Smith for the record. Item 6B is for possible action. It's the RPC training segment case hearing overview. I have Nate Kusha to take us through that.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. For the record, Nate Kusha with Regional Planning. Got a quick presentation to bring you guys through here. This RPC training segment's on kind of case hearings and what happens at meetings and how we review cases. So first off, when we have a case that we've got to bring to you guys at a meeting, we have a variety of people that may present or talk, including us at Team RPA. We always present to you guys. We may have the local jurisdiction presentation, and we also may have a property owner or their representative present. So this may kind of bring up the question of, well, who is the applicant, right? And at the regional level, the applicant is typically going to be the local jurisdiction that the review is coming from. So if it's a City of Reno case, the City of Reno is the applicant in this case. So the only time this is not actually the case is if it is a private property owner request, and those do not come through a local jurisdiction. So you guys will know about those as they go because they have to be sponsored. And if they're not sponsored through that for a regional plan amendment anyways, if they're not sponsored through local jurisdiction, it'll be you guys. So sometimes we do, however, like I said, give the space to the property owner or the interested party to present or speak on an item. This is really out of a courtesy for the applicant as they are the original applicants at the local jurisdiction review level. And also it's really to provide you guys with as much information as possible to help make your decision. So with that, the applicant or who questions should be directed to first, if you guys have those questions. So typically one of the jurisdictions, like mentioned, if they don't know or they need to, they can then defer to the property owner or the representative, whoever it may be, to go ahead and answer that. So moving on, for conformance reviews, policy RC9 of the regional plan outlines the conformance review criteria for conformance reviews. That's things like master plan amendments and projects of regional significance, most commonly that you guys see, as well as these other things listed. And the criteria really is the 5 policy sections of the regional plan that you can see there. For conformance reviews, the Regional Planning Commission does make the final determination on these, so the approval or denial, unless it is appealed. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. So for regional plan amendments, policy RC10 outlines the regional plan amendment review criteria. And you can see here, so that is regional capacities and growth projections, existing and planned development, existing and planned public facilities and service availability, timing adequacy and fiscal impacts, and then natural resources, intergovernmental impacts, the vision, goals, and policies of the regional plan, and then the health and welfare of the community. So for regional plan amendment, the RPC makes a recommendation to the regional plan governing board, who then make the final determination. So for either a conformance review or a regional plan amendment, when making your determination, the commissioners, as commissioners, you guys need to have reasonings based on the criteria of the applicable policy. So if it's a regional plan amendment, it's this one. If it's conformance review, it's that policy RC9 that was on the previous slide. So this means that if a determination of denial is made by one of you guys, then the specific criteria or policies must be referenced as to why you are denying it. And this is really just to ensure that Team RPA is reviewing cases at the regional level and that the case meets the goals, visions, and policies of the regional plan. So also, in the case of a reconsideration or appeal, if that were to be made, then the applicant has a clear understanding of the reasoning for the approval or denial and can then address these concerns directly when the case is brought back. So with that, that's all for the case overview. We have one more slide here, slightly unrelated, but we wanted to let you guys know that we brought the RPC training program, we kind of updated that. We brought that to the governing board meeting, or to the governing board at their April meeting rather, and they approved this. So the major change here is really that you guys are able now to suggest new materials to be used for training. So what you see on the slide here is the criteria that we're looking for those suggestions. So which go through them quickly here. Any requested item, whether it's a book, movie, whatever it may be, must have the primary purpose of disseminating information about land use and or regional planning. The emphasis should really be towards materials that address challenges or characteristics similar to what we have here in the Truckee Meadows, things like a semi-arid climate, rapid population growth, or a tourist economy. Team RPA staff will then validate the credibility of the requested material source. So we're looking for things like from a university or another planning agency, things of that nature. And then each new material added can account for a maximum of 1.5 hours toward the required 12-hour training. And then once approved, we'll go ahead and add that material to the elective list so that all of you guys have access, and that'll be on the RPC training portal that you guys hopefully have been going to recently to check things out. So we wanted to give you that as that update. We actually do have a suggestion already from Commissioner Johnson that he provided a while back. So we'll be putting that up for you guys and you'll be able to access that. And then if you guys have any other materials that you think are relevant or good for training, go ahead and send them our way and we can review them. So with that, I'll stop there and see if there are any questions.
Do any of the commissioners have questions? Seeing none. I just wanted to make a statement that I actually really appreciate you guys doing these trainings. I think they've been very helpful, and it reminds me to go on my list and check off stuff. So I appreciate that. Is there any action?
I don't think we need any action on this item, no.
Okay, wonderful. Next is item 7, which is reports. Let's do with the director's report first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeremy Smith for the record. Couple things. Our next regular meeting for the RPC is going to be May 27th. I'm not sure yet if we'll be able to get back into chambers physically, but we are looking into that option, and we'll work to get us in person as soon as we can safely. The other item that I wanted to bring up and kind of plant the seed is that we have an advanced schedule of meetings, and our meeting, I believe, is on the 24th of June. Many of the staff, including myself, have conflicts on that day. I will be officiating a wedding for my sister-in-law, and so it's tough to get out of that one. And we were looking at potentially rescheduling that meeting because I think we probably will have some items. So we anticipate sending you an email to try to coordinate a reschedule for the June meeting. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that, but May should move forward, and we'll see about if we can get away from Zoom. That's my update for now. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any member reports? Seeing none, we'll go to legal counsel's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jessica Prunty for the record. I have nothing to report tonight and hope to see you all in person this month.
Same, definitely. Let's move on to item 8. Are there any requests for future agenda items? More training, right? Okay, next we'll move on to our final public comment. Do we have any callers on the line for public comment?
We have no public comment for this item.
Okay, let's close public comment. Is there any written correspondence?
No, there is not.
Okay, we're at the end. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Chesney, move to adjourn.
So moved. Thank you. Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you all. See you later.